Hi, my name is Kelly, and for the past 15 years, I was in the wedding industry in Singapore. Now, over the years, I've owned around 8 bridal companies. Some of them I started myself, some I purchased, some I've closed, and I've even managed to sell some of my bridal companies. But the one question I get from doing weddings all these years is, why is everything so expensive? Now that is something that I myself struggled when I first started bridal business as well. I used to be a really basic person. I still am today. But back then, I was just wearing like a pair of $2 slippers to go and work. And all my friends still remembers me by the name of the girl with the blue color slipper today. So you can just imagine how difficult it was when I first started selling wedding dresses. I felt like I was cheating my customer when I was selling them something that's so expensive, right? And when I first started my wedding boutique, I actually branded it as a cheap wedding boutique. And my idea behind that was really straightforward. I was thinking that, if my competitors were selling something for a couple $1,000s, I can sell something that's very similar for a few $100s. Then my customers will be happy with me. They will be like, oh, I got a bargain. And I am going to be happy as well because I just helped somebody. But very soon I realized that things didn't quite happen the way that I want them to go. Very soon I realized I was in a huge amount of stress because by lowering my price point, I cannot lower my bride's expectations. And because it's wedding, I am pretty much dealing with some of the most emotionally intense period of a person's life. And not to mention that all these brides that I was working with, they've got very, very high expectations of me. What I didn't realize back then was that I wasn't just selling a wedding dress, but what comes of the wedding dress is the emotional aspect of it that was bundled together, and that portion hasn't been priced in. By doing cheap bridal, I was giving myself an incredible amount of stress. I couldn't quite catch up to the level of service standards that I wished to give to my brides. And soon the business was unsustainable. What I didn't quite understand back then was that people that come through the door for bridal services, they are also looking for people with experience, people that they trust, and people that can handle their emotional changes throughout the purchase process. Now, bridal from outside looks quite perfect, to be honest. When people find out I was doing bridal, most of them get actually quite envious of me because they were like, oh, okay, you work with beautiful wedding dress, you work with beautiful brides, they look so happy, nice shop, you have good staff, and so on and so forth. But what people don't realize is that bridal industry is actually a lot more complex than that. What people don't realize is the things that goes behind the wedding dress. So things like alterations, the endless fittings, the endless tags that we get from all the customers, our inventory, stress, as well as the rent, the manpower costs, that all goes behind operating a wedding store. For my store, I work with international designers on a stockist basis. So what that means is that in order to maintain this relationship with that designer, whenever they come up with a new collection, we are going to have to purchase a minimum quantity for them. So for example, designer A comes out with 10 pieces that we have to purchase, designer B comes out with another 10 pieces that we have purchased, and multiply that by a few $1,000s per dress. Not all the dresses get sold, and most of the time, out of, let's say, the 10 dresses we get from the designer, maybe only 2 or 3 will do well. And the rest of the dresses, they kind of sit there and kind of do nothing for us. And these are all sunken costs that could never be recovered back. So bridal shop carries not just, all the operational stress, but also all these emotional stresses that nobody talks about. Selling wedding dresses is sometimes just selling feelings of a bride. She needs to feel beautiful, comfortable, confident, and reassured in the dress that she's dressed in. So when we are selling a wedding dress, it's not just about the wedding dress, it's about the bride's whole wedding journey that goes into the wedding shopping. And I think that is why wedding shopping can sometimes be very stressful for a bride. The cost of wedding was really difficult for me to swallow. You're spending tens of thousands or even $500,000, sometimes $1 million for something that's going to happen in one day. And some of the details, you're not even going to remember them a few days, few weeks, or years down the road. I think after 15 years, what I've come to realize is that a lot of things, they can't really be measured just by the goods itself. As human, we can't always be logical. especially when you are celebrating wedding and love. It's something so unique and something so special that you want to share with everybody around you. So naturally, you want to do your best and you want to give your best to everybody around you. And I think this is the point where weddings, they are not just about a wedding dress or a specific kind of flower. It's about the entire feeling that happens behind a wedding. And that is what is costing all the brides the extra money. So why is wedding dress so expensive? It's partly the dress, it's partly the venue, it's partly the workmanship and the level of service that goes into the wedding planning. But most of all, it is the emotional value that's attached to the event itself. And I think once we understand this, the cost of wedding became a lot more justifiable. Now don't get me wrong, of course there are also some areas that are way overpriced that I still didn't quite understand today, but that will be on another video. Thank you so much for watching.